Hi, everyone. Bill Renchler in the 1011 Now streaming studio. Hope everyone is having a nice Monday. Mondays are the days that we get to hang out with the Better Business Bureau. Today we have Tristian Gomes back in the saddle. Tristian, how was your weekend when it was like 75 degrees both on Saturday and on Sunday?
It was absolutely amazing. My mom actually just did the 50-mile march for veterans that goes
There you
from
go.
Walton to Omaha, and she was very happy about the weather and that it wasn't scorching hot. So, yeah, it was a great weekend.
Yeah, we're in the process of kind of getting my parents' house ready to move this fall, and it was nice to not have to carry things out and then get smacked in the face with 70-degree dew points and 100 like feels like temperature. So awfully was nice. So Tristan, again, when we have these segments, we're usually talking about something scam related, something we want consumers to watch out for. And today's topic really interesting because it's something that's really exploded in the last couple of years. We're talking about gambling and we're talking about gaming, and the BBB recently had a new study that was done surrounding these two topics.
Yeah, you said it best. Gambling and gaming, especially online, is just growing left and right. And I don't think it's going to slow down anytime soon. And just kind of the online gray market and illegal gambling operations are widespread. And there's not a whole bunch of legal protection when it comes to this. And what the study found is that we've had over 10,000 complaints about businesses in this industry and nearly 200 scam tracker reports. So we're not telling people how to spend their money or not to, gamble, especially with, football season coming up, a lot of sports gambling out there. We're not telling people how to spend their money. We just want people to be aware of the risk out there and the fraudulent activity that can happen in this industry.
Yeah, it's one of those things where it's like you go to, it's been this way for a couple of years now, but like, you cross over the border into Iowa and you can punch up your FanDuel app or your DraftKings, but here in Nebraska, it's something where it's still illegal. Obviously, we just had the casinos kind of open up
Mhm.
gradually across the state, and you can do sports betting in the casinos, but the online stuff still illegal. And so there's been a lot of people who, myself included, it's like, hey, is there a way to kind of circumvent? And that's where I imagine a lot of pitfalls can come where you're coming across not so nice platforms to do this kind of thing.
Yeah, absolutely. There's tons of kind of red flags out there or these, paths or avenues that people try to use to stray away from the rules, especially these scammers. A lot of them will start with a social media or an online ad saying how you can get guaranteed wins. Bet $5 and we'll give you $500 free play or anything like that. And what they want you to do is like any other scam is just not think about it and click the link and go, oh, yeah, I can't miss out on this deal. You put in your card information and it's gone, it's taken. So that's how a lot of this starts. And the frustrating thing about this is when it comes to gambling, it's not the most protected industry if you are scammed. And so that's kind of where it gets worrisome. And there's just other different red flags we can look out for, such as, typos in names. There's always imposters out there. There's people, acting like they're Amazon. There's going to be people that are going to say that they're DraftKings or BetMGM. And so just do a little bit more research, take a deep breath, take a step back before you place any of your card information or personal information out there on any betting site.
And it's not just betting; it's also gaming. I think all of us have probably seen like, oh, you can play solitaire and we'll deposit
Hmm.
money into your account, and it's just like,
Hmm.
okay, I doubt very many people are going to click on that and fall for that, but there are people who do.
Hmm. Yeah, I mean, it seems like there's so many scams out there where we think like, oh, no one would ever fall for that, and no disrespect, but sometimes they do, and that's why we're here at the BBB because we want to make sure that people are aware that these scams are out there, and if they have been targeted already, how we can help them. And this study was just so interesting, and I'm glad it came out at this time, just before this football season's uh, about to get going, already has gotten going, and it's just so important to do your research, like we always say, and especially in the gaming and gambling industry, know your state's laws. They vary state by state. It's not a federally regulated industry, so be sure to know what is legal in your state, what isn't legal, and what kind of organizations you can trust when it comes to the gambling and the gaming.
Yeah, and so this new scam study that the BBB has done, again, we have it punched up here on your screen. Again, graphic there, kind of, what types of online gambling are legal for both Canada and the United States. But, some of the key points in this study, over $100 billion industry is the estimated size of the legal online gambling, which, kind of seems low, just thinking about it. But also, one estimate of the size of the illegal gambling market is about 4 times the size of that.
Yeah, it's absolutely massive, and there are definitely loopholes that people will find, especially bookies. And the things with that is you're not going to get much legal action or legal protection, and law enforcement isn't going to want to get involved if you're doing something that's already illegal. And you're betting money, and then you say, "Well, they didn't pay me out." It's like, "Well, you shouldn't have been doing it in the first place." So do your research on what is legal, what you're allowed to do, and where to spend your money, and be aware of these risks. Like I said before.
Yeah, and it's a good read. It's a long read. Again, you can find it if bbb.org, and if you search gambling and gaming study, you're going to be able to find it there. And there's a ton of stuff in here. And again, complaints being one of them that you talked about. Going from 2022 to to now, it's just an explosion. I would imagine. You would probably know better than me. It's probably one of the fastest growing areas in which you guys are getting scam reports.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah. I think we have our consistent kind of scam reports, whether it's, a sweepstakes scam or, an online shopping scam. But yes, gambling, I think this is why we decided to, do a little bit more research on this industry and do this study, is because we were like, we're getting a lot of calls, and we need to make sure that the, consumers and the public are aware of what all that is out there, and make sure that, one, that we can help them. We let them know that we're here to help, but also aware that there are, scammers out there in this industry. So don't trust everything, and don't give your personal info or card information anywhere online that you don't know exactly who it is.
Yeah, it's tough because it is one of those things that's become more socially accepted now. Getting out the FanDuel app and betting on the game, but it's also one of those things, and it's almost like we can get some crossover between, because I know there's like online cryptocurrency casinos.
Mhm.
So I mean, that's the crypto, which we've talked about before. We got to be a little bit careful with, plus the casino, and really quickly you can lose a lot of money really fast.
Exactly. Yeah. I mean, it's called gambling for a reason. Is there's no such thing as guaranteed wins. If you ever sign up for anything and it says guaranteed wins, that's the biggest red flag there is, right there. And so there's just so much to look out for. And if you or a friend does need someone to speak to about a gambling problem, obviously reach out to 1-800-GAMBLER. They're here to help, and just make sure don't be, any money you spend, be okay with losing it. Don't be putting down rent payments or anything like that. That's something that we'll get a lot of calls for, is people complaining, and we're like, well, only bet amount of money that you're willing to lose, because that's the most important part when it comes to this.
Yeah, and again, like you said, kind of at the very beginning, we're not telling people that they can't do these kinds of things, but super important, like what you just said. Make sure it's kind of in the budget. I can gamble,
Mhm.
and I can lose $100 this month, and that's it. And if I've lost that,
Mhm.
I've done it before. When I've gone up to the boats in Omaha or whatever, it's like, well, I'll just put in another 20 and I'll win it all back, Tristan. It'll be fine.
Exactly. We all love to think that.
And it almost never ever happens, unfortunately.
Yeah,
So,
no, it's very rare.
so what are any other sort of big highlights from this study that you want to make sure we hit on?
Yeah, I mean, I think just make sure that you take a deep breath, as always, with any scam that we talk about. If there's any guaranteed returns, it's definitely a scam. If they're asking you to pay and prepaid gift cards, or cryptocurrency is another one, that's another thing that you should be wary about, and say, oh, I'm not sure if this is the most reliable source for me to be gambling on. And always just double check. Look at the website, make sure there's an S in HTTPS. That's something that a lot of scammers will try to get away with. And be sure to reach out to the original business. So let's say you're going through DraftKings or BetMGM or ESPN Bet, and you think, oh, there's something a little like different about this. Be sure to reach out to them directly. It's your money. We want you to be safe with it. And it's hard to get your money back, especially in this industry. So do the research beforehand and save yourself the headache.
And Tristan, I'll bring up here, not to put you on the spot here, but just any other kind of headlines. Again, we talk about these scams, and we always say, oh, it's not going to happen to me, whatever, blah blah blah. Just two weeks ago here in Lincoln, we had a report. There was a woman who was scammed out of about $250,000. With gold bars and Bitcoin and cash and things like that. So that, these are real things that are really happening in our community. And so there's always red flags to watch out for, but we just want to make sure we're helping everyone, letting everyone know what to look for.
Yeah, absolutely. And like you said, it does happen. I think all of us think it won't happen to us, but the scammers are getting better and better and getting more convincing. They want you to think that your accounts are frozen or that you need to spend this much money to save your money or get the online purchase that you got. So there's so many different scams out there, and just taking a deep breath and not acting out of urgency. They don't want us to think with our heads on straight. They want us to just hear what's going wrong, and we got to fix it right in 5 seconds. So just do your research and reach out to us. That's what we're here for at the Better Business Bureau. We want to make sure we're helping consumers, and we can answer questions before you maybe fall for a scam that would really be life-changing like that one is.
Yeah, very rarely do you have to do something right away. Usually, yeah. So take a second and just breathe and kind of, my wife calls it getting out of your lizard brain. She calls it your lizard brain when we're not thinking. So kind of getting out of your lizard brain really helps.
Yeah. I'm going to start using that. Lizard brain is now in my vocabulary.
All right, Tristan, anything else top of mind for you guys over at the BBB at all?
I think that's it. Reach out if you have any questions regarding a business, planes, or any scams. That's what we're here for, and we want to, keep as much trust in the marketplace as possible.
Awesome. All right. Well, hey, thanks so much for your time today, man. Really appreciate it. Again, interesting topic. It's like, it's just so in the news. Where do you think they get all the money for all the advertising that they're sending us? It's because of all the people that are losing money.
Exactly. Anyone can advertise on social media.
All right. Hey, Tristan, thanks so much. We'll see you again next week, all right?
Yes, sir. Thanks, Bill. Have a good one.
All right, Tristian Gomes with the Better Business Bureau. We always appreciate his time. Josh's time, always, again, good tidbits of information. Again, really interesting scam study, like I said. Again, if you go to bbb.org and you just search gambling and gaming study, again, it's a big, long study, about 12 pages, good graphics, good information. Again, just kind of good things to know. Because, again, some of DraftKings and stuff like that, not telling folks they can't do it, and it can be fun. But again, make sure you're just doing it responsibly. So appreciate everyone for tuning in and watching. As always, again, make sure you keep it tuned to 1011, both on air and online, for all the latest news, weather, and sports. And until next time, hope everyone has a nice Monday.
1011 News is everywhere. Download our smart TV apps and follow us on social media.